Hi, beautiful souls. Welcome to Life is Magical podcast. I'm your host, Srimanju Katragadda, intuitive healer, spiritual coach, Akashic Records reader, Reiki healer, and Hay House author to connect your inner guidebook. And I believe in experience healing and life is magical. And through this show, I'm sharing some toolkits, which are full of life hacks, tips for rainy days. And one of them is about goal setting. What exactly are the goals and how do we do it without being overwhelmed? And what are the tips and tools that we can apply in a simple, realistic way? The reason I brought this topic is very much for myself, even because I have been feeling overwhelmed by like a lot of things that I want to do, I love to do, and juggling with the time I have got and the things that I'm already doing. And at the end, I'm feeling I'm pressurizing myself. So, here are some of the tips that I have been using for over years. Sometimes I do forget them, and here I was resetting them and I said, why not share with you guys and see what resonates with you? And maybe if something resonates, practice it and let me know how you get on. So let's dive into my toolkit. So, goals, what exactly are the goals? The goal is an objective of a person related to their ambition or an effort to aim a desired result. Whatever the result you wanted, that is where you're aiming to. So goal is something that you're seeing ahead of your time, and you want to work backwards towards it. Yeah. So something I personally use is SMART goals, which means S for specific, M for meaningful, A for achievable, R for realistic, T for trackable. So here in the SMART goals, I set myself, say for example, I want to write a book or I want to do the podcast. So that is being very specific about my goal that I want to achieve. And that is meaningful to me. And I would ask myself, why is doing this podcast meaningful? Or why is writing a book is meaningful to me? And what is that I can achieve out of it, and what are my own achievable results that I am thinking about it. So through the podcast I want to be able to communicate on different topics that I may not be able to get time through my workshops or through my client work. So here I want to have a medium where I wanted to communicate. The same with the book as well. And R being realistic, which means super clear and being real as well. Being real is where I said I can do podcast every 2 weeks rather than being weekly, because definitely I wouldn't be able to show up for a weekly with everything that I'm currently juggling with. Every 2 weeks is something I can do, yet at times I'll be the last minute delivering it, but still I can do it. Yeah, something that I'm keeping it very reasonable, and I don't need to answer anyone, I don't need to prove to anyone. This is more that is comfortable for you. That's the most important thing. T for trackable. And how are you going to track it? Like, what are your own ways that you can do it? That's the most important thing. Say if you're doing like a book writing, committing to 500 words a week, how do you track it? Like, what are your methods of doing it and how are you committed to it? That's the most important thing. Yeah. So definitely goals at our workplaces were much easier, definitely with my experience in the corporate world. And it's always a bit challenging when it comes to our personal goals. But we can still do it because we have been doing the other side of our world, the goals and the goals for everyone else. When it comes to our own personal goals, the discipline is the most important thing. And when we start working on being self-worth or self-esteemed, about what is that we are and what is that we would love to achieve for ourselves, we are able to give time for ourselves, not at the end, but at the start or the middle of our day itself. Like, so we are still in the focus area, and also we won't make it harder on ourselves. And when you're setting your goal, when you're even thinking about setting your goal, being realistic is one of the challenging areas of what is being expected out of you from your society, from your family, from your friends. But it is more valuable what are you expecting from yourself is what it matters. So when you're setting, hear your own voices, listen to yourself first thing and not to others, because that's what we have been doing anyway. But for this moment, give more emphasis to yourself and commit to your goals. And when we commit to a goal in writing or by telling others, we are more likely to stick to it, and we don't really want to disappoint ourselves or others. But by saying that, like, when you tell others, tell the people who are going to support you, not to bring you down. Say if I'm saying, like, hey, I want to do this podcast, I was speaking to a couple of my friends who were encouraging me, who were checking with me, how is it going? Rather than people who were going to, I didn't share this, people who would be discouraging me, hey, it's complicated, you don't have the time, or you can't do it. Definitely that's not a space. You just know who they are. So no point in going and sharing and diminishing your energies. And for goal setting, clarity is more important. So that's where sometimes we need to do a bit of work. And clarity comes when we have some space to give a thought. For me, before I set with that intention of clarity, I try to do meditation, breathing exercises, or Reiki, and then create a space or go into the Akashic records and see what the idea of me is. That even fruition, is there anything I need to know, and then open up the space for the clarity. So then we have that vision clearly defined, the end goal. So end goal is the podcast here, still in the same example, and that is very super clear for us. And by then you have your passion statements, or you identify what that really matters to you, and working backwards, you're going to do one thing at a time. So when we are having these clarities or a goal setting, it's important we have the micro ones and major milestone as well. So the micro ones should be smaller, that you can do it, and you reward yourself by even a green highlighter saying you have done it, like, or a little sticker saying, yay, you did it. So definitely that helps us. So think about, like, what are your micro goals and what are your bigger goals. Yeah. And this way, the bigger thing is to eliminate the distractions that you might be having on the way. So when I'm thinking about podcast, I'm only going to be working on it, and I'm only going to be thinking about it. I'm going to switch off my phone. I'm going to switch off any disconnections that I might be having, like, no client appointment, or saying to the family, this is my space for an hour, give me time, I just need to work on a project. And that helps me to get away from any distractions I might be having. So we can be sitting in an undistracted environment for at least 20 minutes. So choose that space and utilize it for 20 minutes and saying, hey, this is it. This is what you want to do, and you'll get it done. Believe me, you will get it done if you have the capabilities to say no to everything else and bring yourself back to you. So having that boundary is so important. Saying about boundary, I have another podcast on that, about the boundaries. I think it's a podcast episode 6. So do check out on the boundaries. And getting clear, getting a quiet space is ultimate thing. And one thing is to have a book. I'm still a person who needs a book or a journal and a pen. I love that way. So I'll be writing, like, what is involved in hosting a podcast? What are the things that I need to be researching about, like, and I'll be only researching about that, being in that zone still. Where do I need to host it? What is the name I want to give? How do I design the templates? What are the contents I want to reach? What are the audiences I'm looking for? Like, so this will help me to be developing into that, into that space of it. So definitely look into having a mind map, even, like, I love mind map as it helps me to develop the areas that I'm looking for. and then get creative with it, maybe color code and see, this particular thing, how long I'm going to search for, maybe 30 minutes, maybe 2 hours, and then recording it, getting into the real work, how long will it take, where is my calendar, where do I schedule it, fitting into the calendar, and how I can work on it. So this is going to get you into being creative and clearing your priorities and putting. Calendar works great for me, either in the diary or online, but you're blocking that space, saying you're going to do this, that's it. No ifs and buts, no other distractions, and nothing else will be on your way, but you're only going to deliver the work. And that is going to help you with definitely seeing your goal to be fulfilled. And generally, this should be as simple as that, but sitting down, planning and ruling out and seeing where you need to flourish and how you can expand your goal and making it happen is the most challenging part. But now that you can commit to it, because the goal means something to you, so definitely you're going to do something valuable to your life, because your life has got a purpose and a meaning, and you're going to do it. So think about from that view, and why you want to do. When you have that statement, it's going to be much easier. That will be always your driving force, your passion, the purpose to it. That's the most important thing. When we have got a purpose sorted, we will do it, and that will be on your top priority. But there are some of the challenges that I do come across, when I'm doing the goal setting, is especially when I have no clarity on my goals, having very unrealistic things, or unrealistic things, as said, if I want to do podcast every week, that is really unrealistic. I'm not going to achieve it, and that's the reason New Year resolutions do fail for many people, because we do have unrealistic ones and we can't achieve them because it's super hard on ourselves. But when we say, hey, I can do this, maybe once a month even, let it be once a month even, you can do it, and you're being very practical about yourself, the most important thing. And when you're not even clear about what your goal is, that is where we might fail at doing it, or we may not draw our attention into doing it. So unclear is why do I want to do this, or what a big deal about it, who is going to listen to me, why am I even bothered to invest so much time. These are all the unclear, unrealistic ones, so step away from it. That could be your ego mind saying, or someone in your head speaking about it through you, so step it. And there is other dimension of when we don't do enough of our personal development work, we do lack discipline to show up to ourselves. But when you have done some work on yourself, say for example recognizing your self-worth, giving yourself priority or the boundaries as set, that will help you to have a much easier goal setting as well, and you'll be very smart about it, and you will know how to prioritize yourself. Look into meditations, calming yourself with breath work, or if you are into Reiki, practice it. It's not about learning, but it's more about practicing all these tools is a so important thing. And also when the goal setting actually hits hard, you will say, your ego mind will say it's too hard, but then your inner work will say, hey, you can do it, you have done many more harder things, and definitely you got the courage to do it. So you will get that belief come out of it. And definitely not having a self-belief or a self-esteem, we lack in our goal setting or fulfilling ourselves. But now that you're recognizing the inner work is also reflective to your goals, especially I'm talking here is your personal goals, you're going to bring it out, and your confidence will rise, and you're able to do it. And the more you do the things that brings you closer to your goal, the more confident you'll feel about yourself. For me, it's the color codes that really enhance me, by having the colors of the highlighters and the markings and check boxes. These are yay, kind of a kudos to me. that I'm doing it. Yeah, for young children, it could be like, having a dollar coins or something simple rewards they would love to have. But make sure you have some rewards at the end of your mini goals and major goals as well. You definitely need to have that appreciation for yourself for doing it. Yeah. And we do definitely have those obstacles, but the obstacles will reduce the more, again, realistic we are with ourselves, rather than having oh, just because this person has done it, I can do it, will only cause more hindrances, because we really don't know their situations. We don't know what kind of a help have they got. Like, I do see, I was like, oh my god, how do people do it every week, the podcast? I still don't get it, like, but now I know they are getting their help, and they have a team who supports them, and someone else is doing the editing work, and it gets easier. But definitely I'm not at that space yet, so I'm going to go with what's easy, doable for me. And that's the most important thing. You can always have your goal 2.0 upgrade level of it, right? And that will be easier. And one major thing is, with a goal, you're setting your intentions, you're trying to achieve, and you're working backwards, but also don't try to control it of exactly how it should be. Like, let it be more flowy. Maybe you will have some upgrades in between, like, or you might be having some situation that you need to adapt to easily or maneuver easily. So have some flexibility there, and definitely it will be worth it for you. And you will be learning a lot of tricks as well in that. Yeah. And also you will be more relaxed when you don't control everything, and also everything we are not aware as well, right? What we don't know, we don't know. What we know, we definitely can utilize it. Yeah. And think about, what are your commitments, what is your motivation drive. They to be your big things, like, maybe put it in the as affirmation, as a reminder in your calendar, or as a sticky note. For me, sticky notes definitely work. And also, like, as in front of your work table, have these little reminders, so you're popping and saying, hey, I can do this, like, I'm meant to be doing this, I'm motivated to be doing this, I'm successful at my goals. So have those things, and keep yourself inspired. And having not expectations, and also release any quick results as well. When you have something, like, you can't be saying a goal, by end of the month I'm going to be running a marathon, where you haven't even started walking right now, like, in 30 days. So it could be a bit of unrealistic and a very quick results you're expecting. So try look into, like, taking a step back and see what is realistic, like, how can I make it possible. Say, for example, if I say, like, if I can do 5K, it might be realistic, like, even though you don't do any walk right now, but you, in a month, you definitely will be there. So being consistent, not expecting the quick results, will help us to not burden ourselves, or quit our goals. Some will just be more consistently showing up to it. And we'll be working on ourselves, definitely working on ourselves, improving ourselves from time to time, and going forward with much ease. And that's the most important thing. And so remember your key intakes, make your smart goals, definitely be very specific, very much measurable, and the things that you only can do it, sit with that. Be very specific, meaningful, achievable, realistic, and trackable. So they are your major ones. And absolutely have your kudos moments, and work with yourself, praise yourself, take time to appreciate you, and you will get it there. and also your focus period. I have a stop clock for every 20 minutes, so you're reminded, hey, now I have spent 20 minutes, let me take a break and then come back to it, which I'm going to share in the next episodes of how you can do the focus times. But for now, this is good one, and I'm doing these goal settings myself, and definitely I would recommend for you guys too. So let me know in the comments below how you have found this, and what are the tips you are going to take away with. And I love to connect back and hear, and if you have stayed till far, please leave a review. That definitely helps for showing up for many other people who might be finding it inspirational. So thank you guys so much for being here and listening to. Have a wonderful evening, day, wherever you are. Namaste. Thank you guys.